welcome to DG117's YouTube channel. My name is Stephen Marshall, I'm your host, and today our special guest is Ray Bullmore.
Hi there.
Ray comes to us from Synditech. Synditech is an outsourced IT managed services company here in Vancouver,
Right.
and a leading premier provider of Cisco.
Correct, yeah, we're a Cisco Premier partner. Yeah, very proud to be.
Very good. So, Ray, you have over 20 years experience in IT, both as a project manager and account manager. So today we'll be talking about IT managed services and how they've evolved over the past, current day, and moving into the future.
You say 20 years, and that kind of dating me there.
Yes. Right. Okay. So you've made a decision, or at that time, to move into IT, and obviously it was a good one because you've been at it 20 years now. Many of our viewers have a perceived interpretation of what outsourced IT managed services are all about.
Right.
What is your definition, and how do you see it evolving and from past to present?
Sure, no, that's a good question. Really, managed services, you can look at it in the IT perspective, two real niche areas. You've got the application management, managed services, where a company would go ahead and outsource support for whatever application they have in place, whether it's customized or a COTS solution that they've implemented from another vendor of some sort. So there's that piece of the application management. But in my case, it's more of an IT infrastructure. So it's infrastructure taking on with some security. So everything in that world is potentially outsourced to somebody like us, and we would then take over all IT aspects as their virtual IT team. So a lot of companies are not big enough, or they don't have a budget to hire an IT team per se. And in that case, then we would be taking on those responsibilities.
Makes sense. I mean, all of our viewers that are small business owners are wearing enough hats
Correct,
as it is right now to add that to the stack.
Indeed.
And have specialized areas that they may not be able to plug into immediately. Just makes the problem even more challenging.
Correct, yeah.
So moving in a different direction, how would you say for a smaller boutique company that's considering using an MSP provider, what would the key differences be between a smaller firm and a much larger MSP firm?
That's a good question, and we come up against some of the larger firms all the time in our bidding process, and unfortunately for us, there's the disadvantage is the price. They are able to buy in quantity, and as a result, the hardware aspect of it, they typically can come in at a cheaper rate than we would be able to, just based on sheer volume. However, on the actual support side of things is where we shine. We have dedicated account managers. We have dedicated techs that go on site, that build a relationship, that understand the environment, the business process of the client as well. And we found that a lot of the larger organizations lose that. Some people feel that they're small fish in a big pond, and they don't get the attention that they feel that they deserve, and that they do in fact deserve. And they just get left in the dark when they have an issue. And a lot of the time they go into the support queue and they're lost in the support queue. There's no one to follow up with. They don't know who to contact, this kind of thing. Whereas we have more of an in-depth relationship. I become a trusted advisor of the client, so they know who to call. It's the one person that they can go to. And really, if I don't know the answer, I'll find out for you.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gives us a perspective on the large versus the smaller MSP providers. In terms of the future of the industry, people are talking about SaaS solutions.
Yes.
Versus outsourcing, and what's your take on that?
Well, there's word on the street, I guess, is that MSPs and the whole managed service model is dying. It's becoming extinct, I guess, in a sense. But I believe that it's actually evolving. Okay, it's not just about managing your server on premise. It's not just about verifying data integrity, installing PCs, that kind of thing. Yeah, that work is going to continue, and it always will. But there's the SaaS part that people are really looking at, running applications in the cloud, this kind of thing. But you have to be aware that the cloud isn't some virtual space in the sky. A cloud is actually just another data center somewhere. So somebody's hosting it somewhere. And that requires IT expertise as well. So there is always that. So there's the endpoints, and people are also walking around with mobile devices and all this stuff. It's interconnected. It's the Internet of Things. And that's what Cisco likes to call it. And that's something that needs to be managed at some point as well. And I see that there's an evolution with managed services going into security and managing security, because managed services and managed security are all intertwined. It's not just networking management, it's now security management. It's planning for the disaster recovery and having a plan in place and then implementing that plan. And then furthermore, managing it with the eyes on glass. And that's another piece, and I think the evolution of managed services today.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And earlier, before we sat down, we talked briefly about cybersecurity and how that's playing a role because of the number of hackers out there and databases.
Ransomware, you name it, yeah. And it's coming to the forefront. It's actually becoming a topic around the kids. It is something that's serious, and it needs to be taken serious by a lot of people. And there's a small percentage of people that are actually taking action. And we follow, with Synditech, we follow the Cisco best practices for implementing security on a hardware level as well as the application layer. And these are areas that need to be focused on, and there is a cost, but you have to consider what are your assets as a company. Is it the data? Is it money itself? Like, what is the actual asset to a company? What makes it valuable? And that's something that you need to be really aware of. And what if something happened? It's not just what if, but when something happens. Are you prepared? And then if it does, what do you do about it, right? Once the horse has left the barn. And that's more of the consultative angle that we take as well with our clients. And it's a value add, believe it or not, for some of our managed clients to get that advantage.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, Ray, well, I appreciate your time today.
Yeah,
I hope our viewers learned something about outsourcing and when it comes to MSP providers. We touched briefly on some emerging technologies like you mentioned IoT, and of course e-health, big data analytics. Might be interesting to have you come back one day and discuss how those technologies are impacting your services as well.
E-health is a big nugget to crack for sure. And there's a lot of brains working on that solution right now, I'm sure, and a lot of money going towards it too. So yeah,
very good. Thanks, Ray. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much.